Hey fellow beaders, it's JP and today is Wild Wednesday. So I have another design for you. And of course it's a bracelet. I think I might do a pendant next time, or it's been a while. I've been doing bracelets for the last several tutorials. But anyway, so this is a simple one, and the wild bead that I'm using are the Minos beads. And I bought these from Art Beads. And it's called, the color is matte copper gold, Minos Parpuka bead, and 10 grams. So one little package is going to go a long way for you because I still have quite a bit left over after making the bracelet. This bracelet is 6 inches, and the components are about, they're not quite an inch, they're a little under an inch in their width. And I also have these connections that I use the Minos beads with. So you'll need a total of 16 Minos beads and 8 bicones per component. And then just 2 Minos beads for the connection. The bicones are part of the component, so they still count as that part. And so a 10 gram little bag is going to be more than sufficient for you guys. And then you just got to figure out how many bicones you need. And of course you can play around with other beads. You got rounds and fire polish, so you don't necessarily have to have bicones in this. It's the size that matters usually. Typically when I do my designs, it's the 4mm size. That's more important than the bead shape. And last bead you're going to need are the 11/0 beads. So I've got this sort of metallic bronze iridescent color here, which I think works well with the gold copper of the Minos beads. This is actually a pretty simple looking component, and I think you guys will have a lot of fun making it. In addition, and I'm calling this the Blue Minos bracelet, I also made a matching pendant called the Blue Minos pendant, obviously. Anyway, the tutorial is in my Etsy shop, PDF for this. I will be making a PDF for this one coming soon. And I have the PDF ready for my false bezo bracelet. Where is it? Okay. So if you remember this one, I did a tutorial for this a couple Sundays ago. So I have the PDF if you are interested in that. That is also in my Etsy shop. But anyway, you can always just go watch the video. You don't need the PDF. I think that's all I got to tell you. So let's get started. To begin our tutorial, we are going to pick up 4 11/0 beads and bring them toward the end of your thread. And we're going to go back through these 4 beads to make a teeny tiny little square. So as soon as I move my fingers here, you guys will be able to see what I'm talking about. And I'm going to go back through the bead once more, or I'm going back through at least just one to make it a little bit of a tighter circle. And there you go. Got our little teeny tiny square bead. And since I want to work in the upward direction, I'm going to turn the work. So I'm going up. I'm going to pick up one of my Minos beads and I'm going to go through the next 11/0. So I'm exiting out of this one and I'm going to go into this next one. And that's what you have. And we're going to do this again. Pick up a Minos and go into this next 11/0. As I've pulled my work off my hand, was very good about pulling, so came flying out of my hand. Anyway, so here we are. I got my 2. And I'm actually going to be adding a total of 4, so we're going to do this one, 2 more times. So I picked up a Minos, and I want to go into this next 11/0, so you guys can see. And one more time, pick up a Minos and go into this fourth 11-0 bead. So it's very important to keep the tension very tight in this part of this beading beading. This in these first few steps is what I'm trying to say, because you want to make sure these Minos beads kind of line up correctly. They have a tendency to kind of spin around in different directions, and you want to make sure that they are sitting firmly where they belong. Now I'm exiting out of this 11-0 here. I'm going to put this down so you guys can see better with my fingers getting in the way. So I'm exiting out of this 11-0, and I want to go into the next Minos. So basically I'm just, stepping up is all I'm doing. And I want to make my tension tight. I'm going to give it another tug so everything is tight and beads are close together. So in the next step, we are going to pick up an 11-0, a Minos, and another 11-0, and we're going to go into the next Minos over here. And that's what it's going to look like. And then you're going to repeat that again and again. So we're going to do it a total of 4 times. So this is number 2. So I picked up an 11-0, the Minos, and the 11-0. And that's what I got there. And I'm going into this next Minos over here. And let's see, does that look? So these are the 2 sets that we just added. I'm going to continue, and I'm going to pick up an 11-0, Minos, 11-0, and I'm going into this Minos over here. Like so, and last time, 11-0, Minos, 11-0, and I'm just going to give my thread a tug and pull the beads down just because I've got this longer thread and there we go. So you want to go into this last Minos and then work your way up into the 11-0. And let it all come together. And don't worry, I know it's gonna look a little bit off and you're seeing a ton of thread there, but all of that is gonna fix itself once we continue. So here's what you have. So what you want to do now is go up into this Minos here. And I'm just going to straighten this part out, this little corner. And that's what you're going to have so far. So next step is to pick up 2 11-0s, followed by a bicone, and then 2 more 11-0s. And I'm sure you guys can figure out we're going to go into the next Minos over here. And we repeat this now 3 more times, so a total of 4 times. You pick up 2, the bicone, and 2 more. And you go into this Minos over here. So you're only going into the ones that were added in this last round. So you wouldn't be going into that one. Again, I'm going to do 2 more 11-0s, then my bicone, and then 2 11-0s. And I'm going into this one. And last time, 2 11-0s, bicone, 2 11-0s. You go into the Minos over here. And you can go through the 11 O's here that we added in the most recent round, so the ones that were with the bicones. And I went ahead and went through the 2 11 O's and also the bicone. And that's what you should have. All right, so for the last step, you're going to do an 11-0, a Minos, bicone, Minos, 11-0. So you got to pick up 5 beads. And you're just going to go through the bicone here. So you don't want to go through any other bead. And we repeat. So we got 11-0, Minos, bicone, Minos, 11-0, and the next bicone. And that's what you should have so far. We continue. 11-0, Minos, bicone, Minos, 11-0. And we're going to go into this next bicone here. So 11-0, Minos, 11-0, Minos, 11-0. And this is our last bicone that we need to go into. And if you can, go ahead and go into a 11-0 and at least the Minos. Give everything a tug. And this is what you should have. Now, in some cases, you could even stop right there and you can make a bunch of these components just like that. It looks pretty good. Some of my thread has spread apart a little bit, so this isn't as tight as I would like it. My other components, they were a lot tighter. So I'm going to give this a good tug on the tail. And that helps tighten up some of the thread that was showing there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm exiting out of this Minos, so I want to come out of a bicone. And I'm going to fold this forward, and I'm going to do that JP twist that I do, because it wouldn't be one of my designs if I didn't do this. I'm going to go into this next bicone. I've picked up an 11-0, and I'm going to connect all of these together. So you want to just kind of push them forward. This will all line up once you get all the bicones, or once you get it all in place. Pick up another 11-0 and go through this bicone. So, and the way to tell is that this bicone is between 2 Minos beads versus this one or the one over here, which are between the 11-Os. And that's how you know. And bring them together. That looks like a weird little jigsaw puzzle, I know. Another 11-0 and our last bicone here. And the last thing we need to do is connect the last bicone to the first bicone in this group. So I picked up an 11-0 and I've gone through that first bicone. And voila, as you give it a tug, this requires a tight tension. And of course you'll have to reinforce because these are popping back open. So but this is what you'll get, and it's loose, so you want to reinforce it. So I'm going through all the beads, or as many as I can at a time. And keep going. I'm going to go through a few more. And I'm back to the beginning here. There it is. There's our component. It does come together. It takes, this one just takes a little bit of work, and you'll see the Minos beads are turning a little bit, and those are the way the beads are. But you can turn them up and they'll stay in place. So what I like doing is just having them turned up. Okay, that one doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. I really, really like these Minos beads. They're just, I don't know, there's something about them. Okay, so if you are working on an end component, you're going to need that loop for a clasp. And so you need to be in one of the bicones that are down at the bottom here. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can work my way down. So I'm exiting out of this 11-0, which is, let's see, is not connected to anything. So I'm going to have to go into the bicone, and then I'm going to go into this Minos bead here. And then down through this 11-0. And this now allows me to go into a bicone here. So you pick up 7 11-0 beads, 5, 6, and 7. Go through the bicone again. Now just go through all the beads once more, or at least a couple more times to reinforce it. And there you have it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my tail thread to tighten the tension. And there's our little component, all done. So this will be one end, and you can continue building the bracelet. You'll have to make the components the same way for the next part or for the next component. So if it's not an end component, you can go ahead and skip the loop step. You only need to do that for the 2 end components. All right, guys, let's keep going, and I'll show you how to make the connection. Okay, so I went ahead and made another component, and now I'm going to show you how to do the connection. By the way, if you notice a difference in my thread here, I actually used a green fireline thread here, and I actually found the fireline works a lot better for this design than the monofilament that I was using earlier. The monofilament is very slick, and so it doesn't grip the beads as well, and so you end up with a little bit more thread showing than I would like, versus this piece. Really can't see the thread. The green blends in much better. Anyway, just a side note in case you guys were wondering. So to do our component, what you're going to do is pick up an 11-0, a Minos, and an 11-0, and you're going to be exiting out of one of the bicones here. It doesn't matter any of them. And you're going to go into this bicone here. So in this case, for the end component, you actually want to go to the one that's opposite your loop. And I'm having trouble, so I'm going to turn this over because the 11-0 bead's in the way there. Okay, so this is what you're doing, like so. Go through it, bring it closer, and then you're going to do it again. You pick up an 11-0, a Minos, and another 11-0. And we're going to go back through this one here. And that's part of the component, or part of the connection that's done. Go back through the beads once more to reinforce. I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. All I did was just go through the beads again. I'm not adding anything, I'm just reinforcing. So okay, so I've done that once, and you can do that multiple times. It's up to you. Now this time what you're going to do is you're just going to go through the 11-0 here. And then you're going to pick up 3 11-0s. You're going to skip our Minos here, and you're going to go through the 11-0 and the bicone on this side here. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to get these 3 little 11-0s to sit on the Minos. And then you're going to do that on this side. So you're out of the bicone. Just go into this 11-0. And then pick up 3 11-0s. And you go into the 11-0 on the other side of the Minos and through the bicone. And that's it. There's our component. Now all you're going to have to do is reinforce this. So I'm going to go back through the 11-0 beads here. I'm just doing 2 beads at a time. Let's see if I can get through this bicone. The bicone has quite a bit of thread through it, and the monofilament's a little bit thicker for when I made the component. And I go through these 11-0s. Got through 2. And then they're not quite lined up, so it's hard to go through them all at once. But that's okay. I'm just going to go through them together like this. And this should feel very secure at this point. And again, you can go through, you can come out of this 11-0 and then go through the Minos again too. I'm going to go ahead and just show you what to do to tie off. So I'm going to go into the 11-0s back here. And I'm going to do some half-hitch knots. So in this case, I'm going to pull it right into the Minos bead. So I'm just going to make my little loop, go through it, and make sure it's between the Minos and the 11-0. And then the knot's just going to be pulled into the Minos. And then I'm going to go up towards the bicone here. So if I can get through the 2. And you know, part of the reason I didn't do the earlier part of the tutorial with the screen thread was because it was it's kind of dark, so I'm hoping you guys are able to see it better. But the monofilament, with it being clear and with some of these darker beads, it was easier. It shows up better on the film in video than the screen does, which is great for blending into your beadwork, but for filming, not so good. Anyway, I went through the bicone to pull the knot into the bicone. Then I'm going to go through these 2 11-0s here. And for my 3rd knot, I'm just going to do it again into the Minos. So making the loop. And like I said, you want to make sure the loop is in the right position, which it is. And there we are. So now you can just kind of weave the thread away a little bit and cut it. So I'm going to come out, so I'm coming out of the Minos back here, and that's it. I'm away from the knot, so I'm cutting the thread, and here we have it. There it is, there's the connection. So just keep going. You're going to be repeating these steps. So you make the component and make the connection. And that's it, guys. Okay, let's go. Here is the completed bracelet, and I hope you guys like this tutorial. I had a lot of fun making this, and that's the back of it. I think it came out really well. I hope you guys will try out these new Minos beads because they're just a lot of fun. I kind of wish I had bought some Arcos to go with them because I've seen a lot of designs that had both the Arcos and the Minos together, but here's a design with just the Minos and some bicones and seed beads. So this bracelet looks more complicated than it is, and if you make it and then you can show it off to your friends and family, be like, look at me, I'm a designing expert. Also, don't forget that I created a matching pendant design. That the PDF for this is in my Etsy shop. I'm not going to do a tutorial for this. So if you guys like this, then check out my Etsy shop. And I will see you in the next tutorial.